At home today, recording these 4Ps, episode 48, with the family as a stomach bug is making its way through our entire family. So do not adjust the color of your screen. I'm just a slightly different hue at the moment. And believe it or not, those GI issues are not related to anything in the news. I was prepared to give my feedback on the election results today, and I truly see a lot of positive in it, despite not being as momentous of a repudiation of the Trump presidency as I would have hoped for. But there was still some tremendous progress, though it still reveals some real challenges ahead, specifically not getting distracted by the sideshow of all that is going on. And speaking of the sideshow, not soon after Trump fired his attorney general this week, the news media and the American public immediately got distracted by the White House's decision to revoke a media credential for a CNN reporter. It was a really bad decision, but it obviously moved the spotlight away from what could be a looming constitutional crisis if the acting new attorney general or Trump tries to fire Robert Mueller. Personally, I'm actually less concerned about a constitutional crisis because there is something that the new House leadership could actually do. Simply subpoena all of Robert Mueller's records or hire him to lead their investigations moving forward. Just got to stay one step ahead of these slippery fuckers instead of constantly playing from behind. That's what the Democrats need to do now. As a homeowner, but even back when I was renting an apartment, I often have had to rely on my carpentry or electrical and plumbing skills just to keep things in order. I'm fortunate to have grown up with a father who did a lot of work around the house, and that skill, that training rubbed off on me. But more and more, friends of mine, adults coming of age, do not have the most basic of abilities beyond changing a light bulb. As important as it is that schools teach STEM and coding and new areas of study for our kids, I'm not sure why middle schools and high schools stop teaching at least the basic fundamentals and the skills around the home. Calling a handyman is fine for bigger things, and certainly hiring a real contractor to do home improvements is the right way to go when you're doing massive renovations. But shouldn't we be instilling some practical, beneficial, efficient skills in our youth and our teenagers so they can actually learn to do something for themselves? So different types of safety that human beings naturally and genetically crave just from a survival instinct, right? Your physical safety, your emotional safety, but as a manager or a leader, and even for me as a student of workplace dynamics, I have championed this concept of psychological safety in the workplace. Now, as you build up a team, it is super critical that everyone in the team feels secure in their freedom to take risks, that they are confident in speaking out, or feeling comfortable enough to show and express vulnerability and full view of your teammates or even your manager. Now, as that manager, this requires an understanding of each employee, what motivates them, what comforts them, what impedes them and holds them back. I'm actually surprised that more companies, big companies at least, don't have licensed psychologists on staff, either internally to help shape the dynamics of the company and decisions, or as a service for employees. Now, some may, and some probably already do. And it's obviously not a cheap resource, but combining HR and psychology is a trend that I actually think could take off in years to come, especially as people become a bit more emotionally fragile. And when it happens, I will probably be the first person on his or her couch. Here's something you probably didn't see coming with respect to me. But with all the stresses and anxieties and tensions that we just have built up in our daily lives, especially now recently, I found a healthy outlet in the form of a new hobby. Now, I know you're probably going to say, or at least think, that I've turned into an 80-year-old man, but I have recently discovered an enjoyment and a satisfaction in building model kits, meticulously fitting and shaping and gluing and painting these things. And so far, I've only taken on classic and some recent car models. It's something that my son actually enjoys. But for now, it's actually a great exercise for my patience, just teaching me to wait for paint and glue to dry on certain sections before you can actually move on, which is not especially easy for me. I don't know where this is going to go, or whether or not I'll soon start feeding the squirrels in my yard or yell at the neighbors to get off my lawn. But for now, it's healthy.